Hi, I'm Graham. Welcome to this Oxford Revised English Exam Explainer. I'm going to be talking about GCSE English Language Paper 1. I'll take you through some tips and reminders and general approaches to this paper. Let's start by thinking about how the paper is organised. So, as you can see on screen, Paper 1 lasts for 1 hour 45 minutes and there are 80 marks available. But it's worth thinking about how those marks are apportioned. Section A, test reading. So you are given a source text to read at the beginning of the exam and 4 questions based on that source text. It's worth saying at this point that sometimes at the start of an exam, when nerves kick in, you can be tempted to skim read the source text. Please don't. Spend your time understanding that text and make sure you get to the end. Don't get 3/4 of the way through and then move on. Section B is a test of your writing skills. Again, 40 marks available here. You answer 1 question from a choice of 2, either a descriptive piece of writing or a narrative piece of writing. And now let's think a little bit more about how those marks are allocated. On the screen, you can see a grid which breaks down question by question some suggested timings and some marks as well as skills being tested. What I want you to take particular notice of is where the weight of the marks lie. So question 4, which is the final task in the reading section, and question 5, the writing task, 60 marks reside there. That is 60 out of 80 marks. 3/4 of the marks on this paper rest upon those 2 questions. So this means that you've got to be very careful when you're tackling questions 2 and 3, the language and structure questions, that you don't spend too long there. It's a bit of a trap sometimes, and if you overwrite and spend too much time on those 2 questions, which are only worth 8 marks, you might reduce the time that you have for questions 4 and 5. So make sure you get to that point. Now, the first question on paper 1 is a very straightforward question. There are 4 marks available and you will spend roughly about 5 minutes on this particular task. If you look at the question which is on screen at the moment, a sample question for you, you'll notice that the first thing the question does is direct you to a certain bit of the text, in this case lines 1 to 5. And you are then given 4 questions to tackle. These are multi-choice questions. So you'll see 4 multi-choice grids, and in each grid there'll be 3 options. Now what this is testing is your ability to retrieve and find information, to locate information. It's intended to be a very straightforward question. All that I'd really like to say about this particular task is bear in mind at the start of an exam, sometimes anxiety makes you rush. And what is intended to be a straightforward question can sometimes trip people up. So have a breath, take your time, and make sure that you track that information in those lines specified. Rule out any wrong answers and double check that you've got the right option ticked. And then once you've done that, move on quickly to the next question. Okay, that is all we need to say about paper 1. Thank you very much from the Oxford Revised team. I will see you in the next video.